Well, the man that is leading both of those events is joining us now. Stetson Wright, thank you so much for your time today. And I think I need to start with the elephant in the room. We haven't seen you compete since Puyallup, Washington. How has that recovery process been for you, and how are you feeling now?
Oh, I'm feeling really good. I did, I guess, exactly what the doctors told me to do, and then some. I sat out the 6 weeks, and now we're pushing 7, 8 weeks at this point, and I'm back to lose my mind again. I'm ready to get back on, and the Wilderness Circuit Finals is coming up quick, and I'm super excited to ride.
You know, it's interesting, Stetson, because I feel like we're breaking news today. Stetson Wright's back. He's getting on at the Wilderness Circuit Finals Rodeo this weekend, both in the bull riding and the saddle bronc riding. You had to have decided a couple of weeks ago when the entries open, okay, I'm ready. When did you really know that you were set to come back and try it again?
I would say I felt pretty ready right around the 4 week mark. It was pretty much during Sioux Falls, and like I was kicking myself in the butt that I didn't go there, and so I'd been ready for a while, and I just told my dad, I'm like, if they still don't clear me to ride, like at least enter me. Let's just give myself a chance, and I'm sure glad we entered it because I'm feeling really good, and I happened to draw super good all 3 rounds of the circuit finals, so this should be a great little practice before we head to the NFR.
Yeah, how confident are you in your return, knowing you've got some great matchups to kick things off again?
Oh, I'm super confident. I think that's 5 out of the 6 are um, easier round wins, and then my last bowl, I got one of Legacy Pro Rodeos called Train Station. It's kind of an eliminator bowl. They haven't rode him yet, but I'm hoping we can make some fireworks happen.
You know, we're taking a look back at some of the highlights of 2025, and you know, I just don't want people to forget, since you had to sit out the last couple of weeks of the rodeo season because of the injuries, how great a year you've had. You've won over $515,000 this year with a chance now to go on to the National Finals Rodeo. You were rolling up until that moment where you got stepped on in Puyallup.
Yeah, he was going super good, and like I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. Because I mean, I buck off a lot of horses in my time of riding, and I've never had anything like that happen. I've never had a horse stomp on me like that. So it was meant to happen. It probably took till the season was over for me to realize that I had a good year. Because I mean, as many people already know, I'm not very satisfiable. I'm always wanting more. So it wasn't my best year that I'd ever had, but it under the circumstances, the limited rodeos I actually got to go to, it probably was one of my best years as far as number wise on how many rodeos I went to. But I mean, I was just glad to be back rodeo, and I'm super glad to go back again.
Now that you've had a chance to gain that perspective, you've stepped away for a few weeks here, and you think about the journey that you went through in 2025. You know, you were joking about you were going to just live in the parking lot at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo until you got a walk-up spot. And all of the obstacles that you had to overcome this year, that's got to make you pretty proud now that you've looked at the numbers, now that you've looked back on that season.
Yeah, and I talked to my family, Kai and Dusty talked to us about it a lot. And like the biggest thing when I was coming back from the first injury was don't come back too soon. Like you don't want people to be like, hopefully he'll get back to himself. So I made sure I sat out and got out of the practice pen behind closed doors so nobody could see me fail. And it happened to just pick right up. All the surgeons, physical therapists, everybody that helped me get back to I guess, really good shape to ride. It was all super good. And so when I showed up to rodeo, I knew that I had a good chance to win. And that was kind of how the whole year went. It was a lot of weeks off and very few of me getting on. But I mean, it was still one of the best things that I can think of this whole year is riding. Like my riding percentage in the bull riding was one of the highest ones I've ever had, and same with the bronc riding. And it just seemed like if I could just go to some more, it could have been even better. But that it doesn't matter the lead you have or the lead you don't have going into the finals. There's so much money there now that I I feel perfectly content going in exactly where I'm at, and um, I don't plan on being where I'm at when it gets over.
Over 60% riding percentage in the bull riding, I think, is the correct number during the course of the year, which is really, really good. Stetson, we'll talk a little bit more about the NFR in a minute. I want to just focus on the circuit finals for a minute. 7 of the 12 saddle bronc riders that you'll be competing with an event against at the circuit finals either are going to or have been to the National Finals Rodeo. This is a loaded field of bronc riders. Of course, the Wrights are in the wilderness circuit, so that kind of skews it maybe a little bit toward bronc riding. But, I mean, this is a loaded field of bronc riders.
Yeah, it's super loaded. Like, I always joke around that the wilderness circuit finals is like a little clip of what you're going to see at the NFR, because the talent there, the good stock, and that's not just in the saddle bronc riding. It's kind of throughout the whole every event. But I'll just go off of the 2 that I'm in. Like, we got Hayes Waite, Tristan Hutchings. Kai was in this circuit for the past couple of years. This is the first year he hasn't. And Josh. I mean, there's so many. If I didn't name them, like Tyler Bingham. They're everywhere. They all ride good, and I mean, it just makes it's like practice pen, but it's just preparing you for the NFR, in my opinion.
I know we're just a couple nights away from your return at the circuit finals. Are you going to get on any horses or bulls before you head to the arena there?
Yeah, I was supposed to get on today, but Statler's driving from Texas, didn't make it, so I was short on help. So I'm going to run in a bull and a bronc tomorrow at the house, and we're just kind of sharpen the tools right before we head there.
So there's going to be a discussion that you're going to hear a lot between now and December 4th. And it's going to involve maybe the best race between 2 rough stock contestants for the all-around title that any of us can remember in our lifetimes. And I'm talking about you and Wacy Shala, obviously, separated by $30,000 or something like that in the all-around, both competing in 2 events. Have you thought much about that? As you've been recovering, has that been something you've been kind of looking at or watching? What are your thoughts about that, Stetson?
No, like me and Wacy, we're best buds, and like I'm pulling for him, but at the end of the day, like, of course you want to be on top when it's all over. But I don't ever really think about the all around necessarily. I go out there and try to make the best bull rides and bronc rides that I can. I'm chasing them 2 gold buckles, and if I win those 2, then I'll win the all around. So I never really paid too much close attention to the all around. But I mean, it's super awesome to be in a race. I've kind of just there hasn't been many races since I've started going. I think my rookie year was the last somewhat race I had, but then since then it's kind of been decided before I got to the NFR. So it's super fun. World titles, they mean a whole lot more when it comes down to the last round, or not even that. Like they all mean a lot, but like my most favorite world title ever was probably in 2021 in the saddle bronc riding. Me and Ryder, we went back and forth from January till December, first to second, and I ended up coming out on top there, and that one holds a special place in my heart. And I mean, I love good stories and I love good races, so I'm super excited. I got Kai back, I got Ryder and Statler both going to the finals, Wacy in the all around. I mean, it's going to be probably one of the greatest rough stock NFRs there's ever been, and that's even including the bareback riding with Rocker Steiner and Bradley Miller, all of them. This NFR is going to be legit.
Yeah, I think that's the attitude of a great winner right there. You want to beat everybody when they are at their best. And how much has that re-energized you when it comes to world title races, especially in the all-around with a guy like Wacy Shala?
Oh, it's super awesome. I mean, like I said, Wacy's great, and I know social media makes it look like we might hate each other, but me and him, we talk at every rodeo. We talk on the phone all the time, and there's nothing better. Iron sharpens iron, and like that's just, I feel like it's elevated my riding this year, not just blowing everybody out of the water, having to work at it, not being in first place the whole entire year like I've kind of grown accustomed to. So like sat the year out, came back, and him and Kai and Ryder and Statler, they've all made me work for it this year. They get me out of bed every day, and they keep me going. And I really enjoy that, because when you're chasing something or something's chasing you, You run faster.
Stetson Wright joining us, and we're breaking news today. Stetson Wright returns to competition this weekend at the Wilderness Circuit Finals Rodeo. Stetson, glad to have you back. Best wishes this weekend. Stay healthy, and we'll see you somewhere soon. Thank you for your time.
Sounds good. Thanks.